You've got to be karate kidding. Harry desperately runs from Meghan's clutches. Word on the street has it that Prince Harry is considering pulling up stakes in California and moving his family to Japan. And now critics are talking about his domineering wife Meghan, how she's a scheming, greedy Spider Woman who has ruined his life. Since Harry and Meghan got married back in 2018, Harry and Meghan have really worn out their welcome on not one but two continents. Once upon a time, Harry was a loyal, dutiful prince. Well, he turned his back on his family. He attacked them publicly, he walked away from his royal duties, and he moved 6,000 miles away from home. Globe magazine is reporting that Harry had reasons to resent his own family. Considering, though, that every family does have their problems, I mean, what person doesn't have their own reasons to resent their family? As the title of Harry's memoir Spare indicates, Harry has taken a backseat to his older brother William on many occasions because William is the heir to the throne. And Harry was just a 12-year-old boy when he was devastated by the passing of his mother, Princess Diana. Harry's father, then Prince Charles, and his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, weren't necessarily the most outwardly affectionate people, so he feels like they didn't do a good enough job supporting him after that traumatic event. But that still does not explain the complete rejection of the family, including Harry's brother William and his lovely wife Catherine. Before Meghan came along, they were so close with Harry, he was included in everything they did. You know, it's not fair for Harry to treat them so horribly. They didn't do anything wrong. And these problems with the royal family only occurred after Meghan entered his life. And except for her mother Doria, Meghan also turned her back on her family, starting right before she married Harry. After they got married, some people in the palace said that Meghan started treating the royal staff like garbage and complaining about official duties. Soon enough, Harry was standing up for her, and he was also attacking his family along with her. He was calling them cold-hearted and racist. And now, according to insiders, King Charles is fed up, and so he took Harry's military honors and his HRH styling away, which Harry and Meghan, of course, used to become high society celebs and make a lot of money off of these media deals. But they've attempted to pass themselves off as a woke couple, worried about the welfare of other people. That little attempt, though, has completely blown up in their faces, according to critics. Instead, they've just made themselves look like a couple of phonies who've made a lot of money at every chance they had, while also enjoying the lifestyle of wealthy socialites. But now they have worn out their welcome in the US. People in the industry are calling them grifters, and their star has dimmed. So is it any wonder then that now Harry's discussing moving his family to Japan, where he and Meghan haven't yet worn out their welcome? I guess it's just going to be the latest stop on their train to obscurity. Now, this report is coming from Globe magazine in the US. Unfortunately, I think Harry is too dim to understand what Meghan has done to him. He never understood how to consider the consequences when he was getting what he thought he wanted. And now he's a lot less of a man than he's ever been. Maybe one day, after all the legal work is finished, he's going to get custody of at least one of his balls, and he can claim that, and then maybe he can be half a man. But at this point, I wouldn't believe anything that Harry says, even if he does turn against Meghan. I mean, Harry is not the brightest crayon in the box, he never has been. And he has been trained on how to tell his version of the truth by that expert Meghan Markle. Harry has never really been emotionally healthy, so he's never been able to understand much about other people. Now, I could go on and on about all the reasons that Harry cannot tell a straight story. I can never believe anything that he says about anything at this point. And you know what is so strange about it all? That's probably precisely the way that Meghan set him up. She told him to run around in public acting like an idiot for such a long time. He has now lost all credibility he once had. I mean, even if Harry comes out with the truth, it would need to be verified at least 5 or 6 different ways. He is such a mess. And yes, Harry's story is a sad one. It's a bit of a cautionary tale. Once upon a time, he was a beloved prince who had such a promising future, and now his life has turned into a soap opera. Harry has gone so low that this hole he has dug for himself cannot even be altered because there's no room to grow. Harry has really degraded himself, and he's made a liar and a fool out of himself when he married Meghan. She encouraged him to take his negative feelings out on his family and the monarchy, and he can't come back from that. Harry claims that his family never really supported him. They were never there for him, and so that's why he had to run away from them to find a better life for himself. Harry does seem convinced that his version of reality is legitimate, even though it completely contradicts everybody else's story. I mean, Harry, it seems like, cannot take charge of his emotions. He wants to blame everybody else for his ill feelings except for himself. And so the story just goes on and on. And the silence from the palace is just making Meghan and Harry look more foolish. Now, the palace doesn't need to answer whether those two are separated or not. It's really not the business of the palace at this point. But Harry and Meghan really should come out with some information. Let's just consider for a moment everything that has blown up in Meghan's face recently. Just think about Christian Dior denying that they were involved with her, and then Spotify dumped her, and then she, along with Harry, was labeled a grifter. So the lack of response from the palace is exactly the right kind of response. They're hanging the two of them out to dry. They're giving them more than enough rope to hang themselves. Meghan is a narcissist, and she's going down in flames. She failed in her little mission to rule the royal family. Narcissists only ever end up destroying themselves in spite of what they may be trying to do. So the royal family is doing the right thing by just going about their business. There's really no point in responding to the ranting and raving of a narcissist, this mentally ill, delusional, drug-addicted fool. Meghan is out there wandering around in a parking lot calling up the Paps to take her photo. Meghan didn't have anything going until she managed to get herself involved with Invictus, and now she's trying to take over that too. I still don't understand, though, why they are allowing her to be involved with Invictus. I mean, Meghan made a complete fool of herself the last time. The royal family, though, they're just going about their business, which is exactly what they need to be doing. All that garbage we hear about Harry and Meghan getting together with the royal family and all that is just a bunch of BS. Their PR people are trying to keep them relevant. The worst thing for a narcissist is to be ignored, so bravo, royal family, for doing exactly that. It's also not King Charles's fault that Harry was born an idiot. If you take a look at the family history and the history of royal families in general, Harry is hardly the first. There really have been some crazy people who weren't capable of ruling, but they were born royal and so they were treated as such. I think in some ways Harry really doesn't know any better. He never helped anyone out, and he's being destroyed by a much more sophisticated manipulator. And now she's going to have that royal title and infamy for the rest of her life. I do wish, though, that Meghan's PR people would just give it a rest and stop putting out these puff pieces about them all the time. Nobody cares. But soon enough, they're going to be forgotten in history. If I were Charles, though, I would want to find some way to take Harry out of the line of succession, because Harry is a traitor. He's as much to blame for what they did as Meghan is. I'm sure the palace just got sick and tired of cleaning up after all his messes. We need to hear the truth about the king's invisible grandkids, because if they remain in the USA in this toxic environment, with their narcissist mother causing another unimaginable traumatic childhood, surely Harry won't be able to comply. Now, as much as I love the royal family and as much as I loved Diana, I gotta say, Harry is the result of being raised to be a spoiled brat. I don't think he was given real boundaries. I don't think that he was ever made to respect other people. I think he was overindulged. Illegal drugs, alcohol, well, they really messed up his mind. It was already pretty unhealthy, and just look at it now. And also, this out of control mental illness has been encouraged by Meghan. Grandson, son, brother, soldier, member of the royal family, duke, husband, father, I don't even need to go on. Heart of Invictus, he has no business being involved. And you, what do you think about them? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. Don't be afraid to like and share my video with your friends and relatives who would love it. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.